Well, I'm delighted to say ahead of Celtic against Atletico Madrid, I'm speaking to a former Celtic player who's well used to not only turning out in the hoops, but of course he has memories of coming up against the Spanish giants. This is going to be a tough one for Celtic, Peter.
Very tough. I just think this is probably the best side, one of the best sides actually in the competition. I watched them the other week against Real Madrid and I thought they were excellent. I thought they outplayed Real Madrid. They've got top quality players. I think they've got a world-class player in Griezmann. I don't understand when the big clubs are talking about getting top quality players that he never seems to be the one, especially to come at the Premiership in England. So I definitely think they're going to have their work cut out. Celtic have done very well, but as you know, it's definitely a different level you're going against Atletico Madrid. And I don't think they're a sort of team that puts out a weakened side, because when you look at their bench also, it just shows you how powerful they have. And Simone's done a wonderful job over the many, many years he's been there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Only one defeat in the last 11. They've defeated Real Madrid by 3-1, and this is a back-to-back set of fixtures for Brendan Rodgers. The positives, it looks as if Celtic are now starting to respond to Brendan's second time around. He's starting to get the feel of the team.
Most definitely. Listen, it's been difficult because of the injuries you've had to important players. Obviously, the loss of players which you didn't expect at the start of the season. So I think the difficulty comes with that, no matter what manager you are. And obviously Brendan's wanting to tinker with things a little bit, not too much, because it'd be crazy to do that after Ange being so successful with the group of players that was there. There's obviously the centre-back area has been a problem this year because of the chopping and changing. And you know, when you get into big games, that's an area of the pitch you've got to be bang on. And I thought on Saturday, I thought they were excellent again. I thought against Kilmarnock the week before they were excellent. But I thought Carter Vickers at the weekend was outstanding. Even though he never had a lot to do, what he had to do, it just shows you how important he is. And I'm delighted that he's back for a game of this magnitude, obviously, against this quality of player.
Yeah, you mentioned there, Peter, the quality of player. I mean, you highlighted Griezmann as world class, Morata, Witsel, Koke, Azpilicueta. There's class all over the park. I must admit, I've mentioned before that I can't see where Celtic are going to get points other than possibly match day 6 against Feyenoord. Brendan's got his work cut out. How do you see this group for Celtic?
I always think European games is so important. Obviously, the way they do it nowadays, it was the day you played home and away with the away goals rule, and it was champions versus champions. Now you get a couple of hits, but the couple of hits you've got to take something from your home games. There is absolutely no doubt of that. Your home games are so vital no matter what group you come up against. You have to be at your best, obviously. I think they were unfortunate against Lazio. I thought they played really, really well in the game. Lazio were a good side, but I thought there was an opportunity that went amiss, but probably didn't deserve. They deserved at least a draw out the game. I thought Atletico Madrid was always going to be difficult, so I thought the other games were the ones that you were going to have to take the points up. I tend to agree that this is a fixture, but you may surprise. It's one of those ones you think to yourself, everybody's writing them off as a supporters, because you know the quality that Madrid have got. But you're hoping that the Celtic crowd and the boys can perform a little bit above where they're used to obviously playing against, but get that little bit of fortune they never managed to get, because even against Real Madrid in that last year, I thought they'd done really, really well. And big chances at important times. The difference was the big sides take the chances against you. The quality that they have, they don't give you many knockout chances. And if you get an opportunity to score against them, you have to take it. And I just think in the big occasions, that's where we've let ourselves down. But maybe need one or two chances, but still not taken them. And the opposition have made the quality they've had on the pitch. And that is the fine line in the Champions League. So it'll be a very, very difficult game tonight to get points from. But I think if you got a draw from tonight, you would take that. And it still gives you an outside chance. But it's going to be very, very difficult. I think when you get into the Champions League draw, and don't get me wrong, I must admit, I think there was only one other group that I thought, Peter, at the time when it was drawn, I thought there was only one other group that you would struggle maybe to get points from. And that's no disrespect to Celtic in any shape or form. It's just for the quality it's there. I just felt this was there was probably an opportunity you could maybe get 6-7 points in the section at home. Now that's obviously going to be very difficult against the quality you're coming up against. So I think you have to get at least a point tonight to give yourself an opportunity to get in that top 2, that's for sure.
Do you get the feeling that Brendan's maybe looking for football after Christmas in the Europa League in that third spot when you look at double header against Atletico, away to Lazio, and then obviously home to Feyenoord.
I think you know Celtic well enough yourself. You get into every game expected to try and win. You don't look any further than the next game. That was the way you were always brought up to do it. You know, and you've got to prepare for that because you never know. The expectations sometimes you surprise yourself with a performance. And it may come tonight, and hopefully it can be one of these ones that Atletico don't play to their best, Celtic play at their best. You get 3 points, which becomes a surprise. Then, obviously, you're back in it again. But obviously, Europa League becomes important. You want to be involved in Europe for sure. It's very, very difficult. When you look at the finances of all the clubs all over the world, forget what Celtic make here and how big a club we are. I've said it before, we've become the Ross County night of the Champions League. And that's no disrespect to Ross County, that's just fact. That's what the finances are when you look at the teams. I've said it many times. What is it in England now? You've missed relegation, and I think you get something like £120 million, which just tells you the difference you've got nowadays. And that's very, very difficult. Not much how much quality trying to get and supply the players that's going to get you to that next level is very, very difficult. So we have to punch above our weight in the Champions League always. And there's always a knockout chance. And that's why I say you get into the game tonight, give yourself an outside chance, hopefully put a big performance on and get the result that we all desperately want. And that sometimes can take that a little bit further. And then if you do that, who knows what can happen. But definitely, Brendan, I'll just be concentrating on the Champions League at this moment in time. And whatever comes after that, if you finish third out of that group, you've done fantastically well.
Give me your prediction then, Peter. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be difficult. I think Celtic would need to play at their very best, but I just see Atletico Madrid, and I never go against Celtic, as you know. I think it'll be very, very difficult. I'd take 1-1 just at this moment in time, but I just think with the quality that Madrid have, I think we could be on the back of a 2-1 result like the last time when we played Atletico Madrid behind closed doors when I was involved, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad you said that because just before you go, I was going to take you in the DeLorean where we're going to go back to a couple of games that I always remember. When I hear the name Atletico Madrid, I just get a chill because as a 9-year-old boy, I can remember going to that game and the name Ruben Ayala sticks in my mind because they kicked Jimmy Johnson off the park. There was 3 of them sent off. There was a full scaler in the tunnel where I think the police and Davy Hay stiffened a couple of the Atletico Madrid players. It was a terrible game. Celtic in the semi-finals of the Europe knocked out because in the away leg, I think Atletico decided to play some footballers rather than the cloggers they sent to Celtic Park. It's a chilling memory, that one, Peter. Do you remember that as well?
I do remember it because I remember going, and I was in the Rangers then, my father, God rest him, and I was crying because there was that much of a crowd there. And I was crying even more because there was so much fighting going on because I didn't understand it because I was only young myself, you know. And I remember the name Ayala very clearly with the long hair and whatever. And I remember when we played them, all of a sudden again, there was always seems to be something on the game that brought back the memories of that particular game. Everyone was talking about it. Unfortunately, we had no supporters in that evening, and we had a fantastic result when David was the manager. Actually, in Madrid, we drew 1-1 in Madrid and played exceptionally well and should have won the game. Then we come back to Glasgow and we lost 2-1. So the memories against them have not been fantastic. And that's what I'm saying. Hopefully it'll be third time lucky this evening. And that's what we're hoping for, that we can put a performance in, get that result we're all desperately wanting. And then hopefully that could erase some of the memories of.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave you with this one last thought, Peter. In the game, try not to cry because it will become a TikTok or a meme, you know, and you'll just be embarrassed. I mean, you'll have to look at Rod Stewart crying at the ground. Keep your composure. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, I'll definitely do that this evening. Hopefully I'll be celebrating and not be, if it's any tears, hopefully it's tears of joy, not disappointment this time.
Peter Grant, as ever, an absolute joy to speak to you. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Peter.